All right, that's excellent.
Welcome to our 122nd episode of Gorilla Radio. I'm Joe Caprino. I have Mr. Mike Reiser. A little late in the week, but we're getting it done. Uh, how are the rankings coming since after another crazy weekend of wrestling?
Man, a ton of results, tons of results. The team state, obviously, we seen on the board it wasn't the only event going on, but a lot of ranked matchups there. So like once I got it done, I kind of went back through and then seeing that we got another loss here, loss there. So trying to get it the best I can. But like I told you before, like whatever I get wrong, I'm sure someone will let me know.
Yeah, we only have 2 weeks left of the regular season. Actually, about a week and a half. You know, we got seating meetings in 10 days? Yeah, about 11 days.
Yeah, half the conferences, as I found out today or yesterday.
Yeah, I did a little research one year, and I was like, kind of trying to figure out how many conferences were each weekend. Up here in Northeast Indiana, they're more next weekend, but it's scattered differently throughout the state. How the conferences are affiliated. Did learn today that Carmel and Center Grove are going to be independents starting this spring, so we might just start that the powerhouse conference: Carmel, Center Grove, Carroll, Homestead, and Madison, and Cathedral. So that's a powerhouse wrestling conference if I've ever. So I'm going to get a hold of those coaches, and we're going to have a conference tournament that weekend, this weekend. That'd be a pretty fun weekend of wrestling.
It wouldn't be bad. Invite all the unaffiliated schools.
Yeah,
I don't know how many there are, but that'd be pretty cool.
What did we were actually looking at it today? And because I know obviously Cathedral is what is it? Athletic conferences. We could go Anderson Prep. Oh, they're football only. Let's see. Culver Academies is independent. Delphi. Fort Wayne Canterbury. They had a team for about 2 years. Eliana Christian. We could add that. They're new.
I think they're gonna. I thought they were gonna be in the Hoosier Crossroads Conference, or maybe Greater South Shore. Maybe I think it was Greater South Shore. No. The NCC, the Northern Crossroads Conference, or something. I don't know. I'm sure Coach Cook can get on here and let me know.
Yes.
One of the old conferences of all the people that broke off from the LAC.
Yeah. Oldenburg Academy, Providence. I think they have a team. Purdue Polytechnic. They have some solid kids.
Yeah, they have some really good kids.
Yeah, there's some schools I've never heard of on this list. Traders Point Christian, Smith Academy, Still City Academy. You know where that is?
The G
schools I did not know existed.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna start our own conference. So that'd be pretty fun. That'd be brutal. That'd be worse. That'd be like tougher than like semi-state.
Yeah, it'd be a real Mooresville regional, huh?
Yes, my conference. We'll start that. I'll get on the horn with Ed and Mr. Swain, and we'll get going.
Be a fun day, though.
Yeah, good people to hang out with and have some wrestling. So, it'd be interesting to see what those teams do with their schedule, especially, like Center Grove's trajectory with their, now they're not kind of horseshoed into wrestling certain teams. What do they kind of do with their schedule? I mean, do they start going out of state a lot more and stuff like that?
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I guess it opens up a lot of possibilities. I mean, I think they were the MIC was pretty decent. I mean, they had some schools that were down. I mean, traditionally that were, had some good individuals, but are down currently. But now you can, wrestle whoever you want, which would be pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, it says right here, Eliana Christian they're going to the Greater South Shore Conference.
I think that's with Calumet and all those guys, right?
Yeah.
River Forest.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I know that we haven't had a conference. We had a conference. We were in the NHC for the first 2 years. I was at Carroll, but then since then it's actually pretty nice to not have to worry about we got to wrestle this team every year, no matter what. Now we can kind of do whatever we want. If we don't like someone like Andy Oberlin, if we don't like him, we'll just drop them from our schedule. He's being a punk. I'll just drop him from our schedule and we won't wrestle him. That's It's that simple.
I think it's weird. Not that it's weird, but I mean, I guess you never know. I know, like, just talking to some of the Crown Point guys, like you wrestle everybody in the DAC, but this is like obviously they have Mendez and Tatini's senior year, and I think they wrestled like their senior night was on the lower end of some of the DAC teams.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is the year they might have got Michigan City, and maybe Michigan City was their last one, and Michigan City's a little bit down.
Yeah.
You know, for where, I mean, obviously Crown Point had a good having a good season, but Michigan City's had a couple down years where maybe they're not having a full lineup, and you know, you want to have those guys highlighted on their senior night, have a good match. Let's go. My brother jumping in with the knowledge.
I mean, if it wasn't in Gary, I guess that was my first guess. I definitely know it's not in Fort Wayne. There's nothing Steel City in Fort Wayne.
Off 35th and Chase. That's like over the man. That's a rough area. It's not like a rough area. It's like a weird area. When we very first moved to Indiana, there's like these kids were like, "Hey man, you want to go get some water?" And I thought we came from Illinois, so we came from right by Naperville. So I thought we were going to a convenience store. And we're riding our bike, and dude, we're in the middle of nowhere. Like, there's nothing around, and there's like literally a concrete block with like a piece of steel sticking out of it and water just shooting out of it. And people, they were like, "Yeah, it's a spring. That's like spring water." And I was like, "Nah." But over time, I drank out of it. Even when I was at IUN and I was doing like a geology class, we took a field trip there. And the professor was like, "Hey, if someone drinks this water, we'll give them extra credit." I'm already like drinking out of it. Like, that's home to me. You see dudes over there filling up jugs of water. So not only is the Steel City Academy over there, but there's also some pretty fresh water. If you guys are over, if you're around 35th and Chase Street in Gary, yes. Maybe we'll swing over there, Joe, whenever we go to
when we go to Mount Carmel next week, we'll go get should I bring a couple gallon jugs?
Yeah, get a couple of gallon jugs of the spring water off Chase Street. Half of Chase Street's shut down over there, man, because I think it's a swamp, but the road's all extra wavy.
Well, that put some hair on Rocco's chest pretty early.
Oh man, it make him a lot tougher. I'll tell you that. I think that makes you immune to COVID.
It might be.
I was telling you before, we all got like a stomach bug over Christmas, except for my parents. They didn't get it, but they still drink the well water at the house, so no filter.
No filter. Yes.
All iron and all the minerals and everything. So
nice. Wow. That took a detour.
Yeah, 35th and Chase, man. That's school of hard knocks over there.
Yes, it is. Now it's very interesting. Look at these schools. I don't know where some of them are. So maybe I mean, Steel City, they should start a wrestling program. They're right in the heart of the region.
I know, man. I know they're right by the village. Go chew some good hot dogs, Chuck Wheelers.
Need to start getting them. I mean, maybe Tony will be their head coach.
Tony can go there. The first recruit, Reese Reiser.
Yes. He's already probably applying for. So we had some wrestling this past weekend. The team state duels. Lots of great wrestling. I was going to bring up the results. A lot of great matches. I was at an event, so I was following along on my phone pretty much the whole day, trying to watch as closely as possible. But it seemed like there were a lot of, there's some upsets, but there's also just a lot of just close matches. And 1A Tell City repeated, I believe.
Yeah, they won it last year. I think I was looking at it and I was just kind of like watching. I stayed home. The roads were slick. Hopefully, if you went out and you didn't drive, didn't get in an accident. I know Crown Point had to stay an extra night, but I think they won 6 in a row to win it. Right? They were losing, and then I think they might have won like the last 6 matches or something.
It was 6 or 7. They went on a tear at the end. Where's it at? Rochester, Tell City. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They won the last 7 matches. So they won 8-6. and they had to win 8 matches to beat them. They got because Rochester had 5 pins and a decision. There was a 3-1 decision. There was a 6-1 decision. Some pins in there. So yeah, a lot of tight matches. And Rochester put it to Prairie Heights, which was it's so hard to tell at that level, matchups and stuff. But Prairie Heights had a pretty solid team, pretty good year, and I mean Rochester's pretty solid also. I didn't expect the 50-24 match though.
And we kind of talked about Rochester before. Just they close out just as good as anybody. They have some really good upper weights.
Yeah, they're Alex Deming, Brady Beck, Marshall Fishback, pretty solid top 3.
Pretty good way to close it.
Yeah.
Tell City had a real good one with Centerville. Centerville, really good showing, beat North Posey, and then that was a good duel also with Centerville. I think that might have came down to the last match also, right?
Yep, it came down to the last match. Centerville only got a decision when they needed a pin. It looks like pin or attack.
Well, I think right before that they got. Did they get like a major right at the end?
Yeah, they got a major. Frazier at 145 got a major. And then, he got a.
Well, just kind of went back and forth, and you had DuPont got a fall, which then you needed something big. So just kind of closed out where they were strong. Obviously, Frazier's good. DuPont's good.
Yeah, that's some real good duels there. 2A Belmont ran away with it. Really some interesting results there. I think just. Oak Hill over Garrett. I know Garrett has a couple guys out. So, and they had a couple matches that kind of swing matches. Belmont dominated Oak Hill, and then Jay County beat Wawasee over Delta in the quarters, and then Jay County beat Wawasee pretty bad. And then the Belmont Jay County match, that was very interesting.
Yeah. A couple days before Wawasee. New Prairie got Christian Carroll back.
Yep, got to see him. He wrestled what, 35 seconds or something.
Yeah, 35 seconds, 3 matches.
Yeah.
So, that was pretty cool to finally see him on a IndianaMat.
Yes.
But then they had Whitesnick, but it's kind of a little bit shorter. Wawasee's tough. We get to see them at Al Smith. They had some tough individuals in there.
Yeah, I think they're a little bit hard to kind of gauge. Wawasee ended up getting 4th. They're a little bit hard to gauge because I don't think they had their full lineup in quite yet before they wrestled anywhere. Delta had some just weird results. They lost to Adams Central tonight, I believe, and pretty bad. So it's they've had some just weird results. Who didn't they lose to? They lose to Cascade or something. They lost to someone earlier in the year. So.
They lost to Alexandria.
Yeah, that's who they lost. So so that was a really weird. But
Jay County Wawasee kind of matchup. It comes down to a lot of matchups, especially in these duels. Jay County and Wawasee kind of are tough in the same spots,
Yeah.
Where they got Clark and Woods, Riley, where Wawasee has Stuckman and Miller and those guys. So a little bit tough there.
Yeah, there's some tough matches. Daniel Moore at 106 over Caleb Salazar. That was a sudden victory.
And Salazar had
Tom over Ethan Riley.
And then Belmont took care of business, man. They looked really good at the Al Smith. Jay County, we were kind of texting back and forth. I know you were coaching and I was at home watching it on Flow. They bumped there, and I know the rankings that came out last week, and they were like, "Hey, everyone's up a weight. We're gonna be down a weight," but they still wrestled the same weights that they were up at Team State. And then bumped a weight class. So if you're going down a weight, you're essentially bumping 2 weights. The Belmont kids, I think, are pretty big, man. They're pretty stout kids.
Yeah,
I think they're probably coming down 2 weights and you're going up 2 weights.
Yeah,
Never a recipe for success.
And we were talking about this beforehand, but I mean, you go bump up those Brownsburg kids up 2 weights. They're not going to be as good. You bump Crown Point kids up 2 weights. I mean, obviously, other than someone named Jesse Mendez, I mean, go put Cody Goodwin at 182. How's he going to do against a semi-state or state bubble kid?
Well, we seen that just bumping 1 weight class, and I mean we'll talk about 4A. I'm sure there's a ton to cover there, but I mean Brownsburg. We took a guy like Gavin Garcia and bumped him to wrestle Nick Tatini. He looked smaller, and obviously Nick Tatini's coming down a couple weight classes from last year to fit in the lineup. But I mean, when you're bumping against good kids, and Belmont's kids were hyped up, and they were ready, and when you bump up possibly 2 classes, it's going to be tough.
Yeah. You can't expect, unless you can't expect the guy to go up 2 weight classes and win matches against solid guys. I mean, like Tony Wood against Litchfield. Litchfield's a good size 138. Wood's supposedly going 126. That's a good 12-pound difference, and that's a lot of weight to give up. And I mean, obviously Wood's as tough as nails, and but a 9-8 match is. And that's pretty impressive, but at the same time, you can't expect him to. You gotta hope for the best there. So, was. I mean, if they're going down, I mean, you have Wood wrestling 138. He's gonna go down to 126. That's gonna be a world of difference in weights.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's tough. We covered 1A a little bit. Quinn just got out. I said missed the 1A talk.
Yeah, rewind it, Quinn.
Yeah.
Yes.
When it's all done, right?
Yes.
3A also came down to the wire. Really, really good duel. Came down to the last match. The last 2 matches at Ron Cali, Columbus East was really good. And we always knew, like Coach Coop has those guys ready all the time, man. And it was really disappointing last year when they weren't able to compete. But that duel was awesome, man. I think the 3A or the 4A didn't start till later, so I was able to watch the close of that and just kind of watch that dual meet, just the way it went down. And you had a matchup of 2 ranked guys right at the end with
Jernell and Peoples.
Yeah, where Jernell I think got a reversal and back points to win, like right at the end.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so like that thing's like back and forth. Peoples takes him down. It's 4-2. He gets a reversal and 2 near fall. Wins 6-4. And I'm telling you, it was like in the final seconds.
Yeah, I was looking at the score, and it was got a reversal with 13 seconds to go. Got the near fall with 1 second. So, that's pretty good. And then Morrill over. I mean, Justin Lewis is. I believe he might be sneaking into the rankings. I think he was on the watch list. And he's a pretty solid wrestler that going to do doing pretty well. Got 6th at the Modern Day Classics, and Morrill's pretty darn tough. So that's still, that's crazy. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, that was a really good, but like it was just like they started at heavyweight, and obviously like Columbus East has a really good heavyweight, and then you go fall for Ron Cali, Columbus East. Then they kind of get those hammers, Kruger and Likens, both get bonus points. Wagner wins, and then you get into like Ron Cali's guys. You get Willis gets a fall, Lowry gets a fall, Wilson gets a fall, Clitheroe gets a major. Then you come back with Cade Law, and Stuck saves the tech fall. He just gives him a major 25-11, which, I mean, obviously in that duel, it comes down to the last match. It's tied. That's a huge, save the bonus point. And not that you ever feel like that's a win when you get beat like that. Yeah. But I was watching it with Kim, and I was saying like Cade Law, like put 25 points up on a kid, and he looked upset. He looked like he had lost. Yeah. Like he's walking off the mat like he's like devastated. Sutton gets a major. Hansen comes back, gets a win over Statler, who's really good.
Yeah.
And then that Darnell Peoples match was awesome.
Yeah, that's that was a good. I'm sure. The coaches and everyone. Especially Law. Knowing where they're at in the score and everything, they know that they probably wanted to pin more than anything. they knew they need to at least settle for a tech, and that's, I mean, when you get that close, it's knowing
Oh,
that
yeah.
it's going to come down to the wire. That 1 point is definitely a big point.
And then, I mean, that's like the coolest thing about the dual format is like, those little like intricacies of the duel, right? Like where can you save points? Where can you, if you're on the other side of that, when can you get more points?
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was a really good field. Ron Cali beat Hobart right off the bat. Franklin Central or Franklin Community and Floyd Central, Franklin Community, and Tante always got those guys ready, man. Like there's guys that like took some early losses and they were like right at maybe and they might have been the preseason rankings or definitely on the watch list, and you see them take some losses, and now they're like hitting their stride. They're starting to beat like really good kids, and you're like, okay, like that's a Jim Tante team right there.
Yeah.
Like as you get better through the year, it's always pretty amazing how he gets those guys up. And Floyd's tough, man. Floyd's real tough.
Yeah, I think Conway didn't wrestle. Is that correct? I think they might have had a couple guys out, but Conway didn't wrestle. Cody did. I thought, and they didn't have a 95. I don't know if they have some injuries or what's going on there, but I thought they had a couple other guys maybe that were out.
I mean, you have Douglas still in there. You have Bray Emrine still in there. You have like that Kissinger kid's really good. You have
Emrine didn't wrestle, did he?
No. So they're losing some horses there.
Yeah.
Franklin Community, Ron Cali takes them out. East Central was like one of those guys. They kind of wrestle a weird schedule. I think they're in Ohio a lot, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they don't get to get into into Indiana much.
And they had some really good kids. I mean, obviously Wolf and Ryder, Charlie Houston, those guys. They have some guys. They always have like a lot of really good records. And now they're kind of like looking tough. They beat a pretty solid Mishawaka team. Then Columbus East kind of beat them up. Columbus East over Terre Haute South. So Terre Haute South had a nice showing. Lost to Franklin Community. East Central beat Franklin for third. So definitely some good duels in there. A lot of good individual matchups.
Yep, they all should have been uploaded. Most of them should have been uploaded into the system.
Yeah, we'll have to do like a tutorial on that. Like, I think sometimes people just send me their results. I'm like, cool. If you put them into the website, it loads up automatically into the spreadsheet, so then I can see them.
Yes.
Like it's hard, but obviously not. I don't think everyone knows that they can do that, or sometimes there's some individuals that people want to add, but we don't add everybody. But if there's someone that needs to be added, we usually add them.
Yep. I think there's over 2,000 results in. Yep, 2,200 results in right now, which
pretty good.
Is 400 more than last year. So
it's pretty good. I think it looks cool in the rankings when you pull them up and everyone has some notable results, and you can kind of see and not only that, but you're talking like college. We always talk about college coaches go there, and maybe you're not on someone's radar and they're seeing these results, and you wrestle whoever. I mean, throw any name out there and it's close. Like, okay, like who's this?
Yeah.
Like let's go and like check out his profile, and you see that he has all these notable matches.
Yeah. I like in my spreadsheet I put in a who's had the most significant matches. Zemarian Holyfield from Penn has 15 significant matches.
That's awesome though, man.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, maybe had 25 matches? I mean, that's pretty impressive.
I seen I know he's a Midwest kid with Flieger. I seen him doing some like backflips over this like high jump bar. Pretty cool. They love to do some like some strange stuff. I have a Bosey ball in the basement. I tried to do a backflip on it. So I might not be doing Guerrilla Radio next week.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. You see that? Those kids doing the backflips and landing on a Bosey ball upside down?
No, I don't want to break my neck. Hopefully none of my wrestlers are doing that.
I'm saying like, no, man, have Rocco do that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes, his athleticism is through the roof.
But I think that's pretty cool. Like, obviously, I'm not doing that. But, like, when you see that, like, one, standing on a Bosey ball is not upside down is incredibly tough. To, like, do a backflip, land on your feet, and then land on the knot and break an ankle is pretty impressive.
Yes, it is.
But
yeah, there's those results are huge, and you can go put those in as you have them. So like I'm just looking at it right now. Hayden Shepard from Western, which is their small school, he has 11 significant results, which is pretty impressive for a guy like
Yeah.
that.
And went up and got some matches too, which I think is always huge. Unless it's like something like you completely get throttled by somebody, that doesn't usually hurt your ranking. Like if you go up, like Zeke isn't dropping a ranking for going up and wrestle Mendez, but like if you would have went up and wrestled someone that was maybe like on the back half of that and got throttled. I mean, we know Zeke's good, but anybody else, you'd be like, oh, okay, maybe not the best bump, but definitely you see those and you always applaud that those guys getting those tough matches and going for it. I think looking at some of the seeding or the brackets for the conferences that are up, which I always enjoy, like that when they release that to the public early and kind of go through and see if there's anybody you missed. Maybe someone's having a season they hadn't really messaged you and kind of find out, but not as many undefeated guys, guys going out and getting good matches, tough matches.
Yeah, this year's obviously a lot different with pretty much, not knock on wood that there hasn't been very many cancellations and stuff. So a lot of teams are, and then a lot of better guys up in the top half. You see Count Points, your Cathedrals, your Center Grove, and Brownsburg. They've been seeking out state competition, so some of those losses are down to state kids, which a lot of them
are. Yeah, and those guys are obviously going out. Like I think like not generally like those are not going to hurt you a ton either, just because some of those guys, obviously are nationally ranked guys. Like Layton has 2 losses out of state, and both those guys are pretty good.
Yeah,
I think Miller has a couple losses out of it. Huh?
The one guy totally dwarfed him.
Yeah, I showed that picture. I was like, yeah, Layton's pretty big. That guy makes him look small.
Yeah. Yeah, Layton's getting D1 offers. I'm like, that guy's getting D1 offers too.
How about that picture I tagged in on Twitter today with Leo Mercado having to raise Hunter Weissnick's hand? Like, come on, why are they doing that to my guy?
He can't even get it up to his shoulder. Like his hand's being raised to here.
I mean, not that Leo's the tallest dude, but man, like you're making him, raise this giant's hand. Come on, bro.
Yeah. So, anyway, back to 4A. 4A was quite interesting from the get-go. I know there's some, the modern day Cathedral seed. People were a little bit, I was myself like, oh, that's kind of not the, 4 or 5, it didn't matter. But Cathedral ends up taking out modern day first round, which was a little bit of an upset.
Yeah.
They ended up pulling out some wins there.
But that's why Dane's one of the best in the game, man.
Yeah. And
we're happy that he's part of our staff. Like he does a great job. I think I like to give him a hard time. It's one of my favorite things. As like diplomatic as I try to be on Guerrilla Radio, I'm not as diplomatic when I'm in the group text. I like to give him the business. I like to send him screenshots of team scores and ask him what's happening before it even happens. But he does a great job, man. I think the IHSWCA did a really good job of finding the right guy for that job, and I know he takes a lot of pride in that. Mm-hmm. I know he does his research.
Yeah. Sometimes you send him nice little memes you make.
Yeah.
I took that personal.
Yeah. But he does a great job. And that's what it comes down to, is like he always I know like that 4 or 5 doesn't really matter. Like they're going to wrestle each other first round. I did it on paper. I thought it was going to be really close. I think after Al Smith, and then obviously that Hayhurst was out. They came at Castle, man. That was one of the things we were going back and forth in the group text too.
Yes,
Castle getting a lot of guys that are leaving their schools, which is cool for them, man. They got probably a couple guys in there that can get medals. Probably 4 or 5 guys, maybe they can medal pretty high.
Yeah. That's oof. That was a big loss for modern day, especially where they were.
And then you see Hunter May and And I was telling you, like, kudos to him for giving it a go, but you can really tell he wasn't 100%. And not as much in the Dylan Graham match. Like, he wrestled Dylan Graham tough. Dylan Graham's obviously really good. One of the toughest guys in the state to rank because he's all over the place. He'll have a really good win, then he'll have kind of like like that guy's right at the end. So are you a top 5 guy or are you a top 25 guy? So really tough. But I was telling my brother, like, the guys in the middle that modern day, they made it 45, and that was a big swing match right there. Graham gets that huge win right off the bat. Just some of those real close matches, 13, Dickey and Sang 1-0, Reyes and Reed Egley 3-2. I mean, those are huge. Josh Johnson's getting a fall. So those are huge matches in there. But closing it out, you knew, like, they landed in a good spot for modern day with, they're going to end with 95. So, you had Solers to close it out. So Cathedral bumping Braun up to 82 and getting the tech fall was huge. So it kind of put it out of reach.
Yeah. Cathedral has a look. They probably had the most little bit of movable parts in their lineup. Most teams, especially at that level, really don't have the ability to move people around as much. So that gives them a little flexibility to be able to avoid someone like Bauman and then snag a win there. So yeah.
Then but everything else, I mean, we kind of talked about it, and I didn't have it in front of me, but I mean, I'm sure that's probably one of the worst losses Ed's taken, and Carmel's really good.
Yeah.
Crown Point's just on a national level right now, but I'd be willing to bet there's not a lot of times that an Ed Pendosky coach team's only won one match.
Yeah.
And we said the same thing about Brownsburg and Penn. I know Brownsburg forfeited 95, so Penn won one actual match in that. And I'm trying to think if Harper was there when Derek was still at Mishawaka, if he was the coach in that one, or did they not overlap? But those teams don't get beat like that a lot, if ever, which is crazy.
Why did saw TJ Barrett got DQ'd?
I didn't see that. I didn't watch that one.
That's interesting. I just was seeing it because it says TJ Barrett DQ'd. Interesting. Against Bauman, it looks like. Interesting. I have to go find that.
I have to go back and watch it.
Probably not to get that. I'm sure Ed's not too happy about that, but yeah, that's and it's not. And Carmel has a solid team, top to bottom. They have solid kids in every spot, but they got one win at heavyweight, and that's just how good Crown Point is, and how much. I mean, you have good kids. Michael Major's a really tough freshman. Runs into an Anthony Ball that's real tough.
Yeah. Blake said it's off screen, so you don't see what happens.
Sure.
Then we'll never know.
Never know.
Yeah, and that was tough. Center Grove took care of Perry Meridian. And, I don't know. Maybe, you see that score and you think Perry Meridian was down, but Center Grove is really good.
Yeah.
It's not that those teams are down or those teams are bad. It's just the top 4 teams there were really good, and it's hard. The top 5 teams are good. Crown Point Cathedral rematch from the Trikoff. Like, how awesome, and we could spend like a half hour talking about the Mendez and Seltzer match, but how awesome is it that do you think that, and obviously I haven't talked to the Cathedral guys, but you can watch it on screen. If you go back, and I know someone put the time on the Flow account, Mendez wasn't warming up. He wasn't ready to wrestle at that point.
Yeah.
They get I wonder if Frazier getting that pin over Josh Johnson kind of was okay, that's not the way we thought that was going to go. Let's bump him. Or if they knew before that, we're going to bump him. I know we were talking with Cameron a little bit, and he was, they were talking about that. They raised Ball's hand, and it's the match. It's literally the match that we wanted to see. I think it said 20 years ago when Reese and Angel were wrestling. You wanted to see that match. I mean, obviously they wrestled as a freshman, and Angel, took round 1 Friday night, but you wanted to see that at the end of their career. A guy going for 3 against a guy going for 4. Just 2 guys that were GOATs.
Yeah.
And Zeke's lost 3 times in his career? Twice to Moran.
Twice to Moran, once to Jesse.
To Mendez, pretty good. Those are all Big Ten guys, nationally ranked guys. And those are all close matches,
Yeah.
Took Jesse down. He hit that slide by early on, and he didn't kind of follow it.
Mm-hmm.
That pass, that elbow pass. I was like, man, he has that. And then he got it in the second to tie it up.
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, that's awesome that they did that. I mean, I don't know if they kind of knew that it's an uphill battle to beat them, and they're like, hey, let's do this. Let's do this for Sometimes you gotta kind of do that for your better kids. I mean, obviously that's a tough match right there. Where they're in the middle through their lineup. Obviously, you're just now getting into the meat of. I mean, not like there's any part of the Crown Point lineup that's easy, but
right.
I guess. I mean, yeah. I mean, he's already beaten Ball. You've already wrestled him twice. I guess. Well, why wrestle him again?
Yeah, it was great. And you see in the comments, it was great for Indiana wrestling. It's great for those guys. It doesn't take away from what Zeke's done in his career.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it probably adds to it.
Mm-hmm.
Hector's in the chat. I'd be willing to bet Jesse's giving up single-digit takedowns in his career.
Yeah.
Another said, obviously Borman last year, Matthew Kuntz 2 years ago. I'd be willing to bet there's not a lot.
No.
And,
yeah.
I just thought that was awesome. That, like I said, that was Chad Lee, Nick, or Chad Red, Nick Lee-esque, where that was in the state finals, 5 in his career. Not bad. There's guys that give 5 takedowns in a match on Saturday.
Yes. Coach plenty of those guys.
Then you're those are the marquee matchups everyone's going to do. And they did it right. They stopped the matches and everyone was there. Then the game was standing out. That's what it's about, right?
Yep. Yeah. That's, go after those matches when you can. I mean, that it obviously means something for the duel, but at the same time, they don't get to wrestle that level of competition in state very often. I mean, how often do we get to see 2 nationally ranked guys battle it out? And we've gotten to see a little bit more, the past few years, but it's still rare.
I think it speaks to how tough, obviously we know how tough Jesse is. We talk about it a lot, and great kid. Zeke's a great kid too. But, look at what Drake Ayala is doing on the college level right now. Zeke was right there with him. And I thought that he should have beat him at the Super 32 last year.
Yeah.
I think we talked about that before, where there were some points that were awarded or not awarded to him that changed that match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He ran into a buzzsaw at Super 32 this year. Bisakis is I never wrestled that guy, but he looks like he's pretty strong.
Yeah.
If you can kind of grab Zeke by his head and his chin, and I know they stopped it and came back, video reviewed it, wiped it. He looked like he was pretty strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I thought that was awesome. I thought the fans that were in attendance, they gave it a standing O, which was well deserved. That's what it's about right there for those guys. Those guys' legacies are done. Hopefully, nothing crazy happens. We get to have a state finals, get a 3-time, 4-time. Indiana's pretty good with that.
Yeah.
But I thought that was amazing. And instantly, you're making posts, and I think that'd be one of those ones that gets talked about for years.
Yep, definitely. And luckily we have it on video so that we can watch it. Still not sure why the videos weren't cutting like they usually do. I was like, oh man, now I got to go through the whole bit. You got to find what mat it was on, and but I was able to find it pretty quick so I could watch it when I got home. But that was a great match. They went after it. I mean, they didn't back down.
And that was like one of the other things. Like, how many times do you think Zeke Seltzer's been hit for stalling, like warned for stalling? Probably not many, and I would be willing to bet. But Jesse Mendez hasn't been warned for stalling a lot in his career either. Like, those are two guys.
Less times than he's given up takedowns.
Yeah, I'm assuming that those are two guys that we know as fans are all action. They go forward. They don't back down. They're offensive machines, and they both got a warning. And it wasn't like it was a bad warning. I didn't think it was bad. And we'll get to some more in a second. But like, I thought that was really cool. And Crown Point's tough, man. Like, Crown Point's incredibly tough. Like I said, like, Cathedral beat a tough Mater Dei. They had a tough day. If they ever felt like, we're not going to go, because I know there was one year they opted not to go to Team State, or they didn't qualify because they didn't bring the right amount of guys before they did the vote in.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they're missing the event anymore. Like, you get Mater Dei, you get Crown Point, and then you get Center Grove, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, they wrestled 3 teams that were
in the national rankings now.
Yeah, 3 teams that were. I mean, Mater Dei was in at that time. Crown Point is now. Center Grove is now. So 3 teams. I mean, how many times has a team wrestled 3 teams in the top? 3 ranked teams in Indiana. 3 Indiana.
Yeah.
I know we got that. I know Josh Lowe sent you that. There's only been 9 teams ranked in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
In the last rankings, which is kind of impressive. That might be a trivia question. What 9 teams have been ranked? 9 different schools have been ranked, and Center Grove is the 9th one. So that's pretty cool to see. And there's a lot of the same teams, but it's kind of neat to see teams in Indiana getting recognized in the national rankings, which I can't even imagine trying to do team rankings.
Well, someone asked me that before. I think when Willie left Flow, they were like, "Do you think you could do national rankings?" And I said, "I think more. The hardest part about Indiana rankings is like 12 through 20, or 10 through 20. Like, those guys are all pretty close, give or take. Like, your top 5 guys are your top 5 guys normally, and they're not always going to be at the state finals at the same time. Like, obviously draws have a big part of that. And we stop before the tournament, or whatever happens, and we just go for it. But like the 12 through probably 30 range, because I think we have a lot of rankings off the page that we didn't know that 25 would shut the system down. But there's a lot of guys on the watch list, and we try to keep those guys in a certain order outside of the 25. Because sometimes I mess up my counting. My 1 through 25 counting is not always great. And
we're getting up to 25 now.
Yeah. But we rank it out, or I rank it out to 30, 35 in some weights. Some weights are obviously deeper than others. 82 was a mess last year. I couldn't get 25 guys that I would put in the rankings. It was just tough. And it wasn't like it was bad. It was just those guys were all trading losses that have been a mess. But national rankings, if you're a top 10 national guy, you're not losing. I think Gavin Teasdale lost to someone like Random one time when he was the number 1 guy. But I think he was dealing with some stuff off the mat that was a lot more, life driven. But you're not having as much turnover there,
Nope. Not right, Blake.
Nope.
1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, right?
I don't know, but
I'll find out here in a second.
When we did it, I was trying to do all the matches before it all came out, just kind of see. I thought Center Grove Brownsburg was a really bad matchup for Center Grove, and Center Grove had some guys out. Williams is out, who's a hammer. That's a guy that's going to be tough to replace. Their heavyweight was out. Nate Johnson was out. Great article on him.
Yeah. Really good article on him this week.
Not great content. Obviously, you never want to see that. You never want to see that for a kid. But, we were talking about his mullet, and then his mullet, they kind of explain where that's come from and stuff. So sad story, but, good article. I think when you get articles like that, it definitely puts things into perspective and, gives you guys to cheer for as it goes. but Brownsburg over Center Grove. A lot of good matches in there. And then the championship. Did you want to tell everybody what they were, or were we using it as a trivia?
It was the last 10 years. So, Cathedral, they were in 2018 and 20.
Yeah. So Hector's would have been out. Griffith was 20 years ago now.
Yeah. Come on, old man. Modern Day, they were ranked in 2015 and 20. Crown Point, 2020. Brownsburg, 16, 17, 18. Portage in 2018. Perry, 2012 and 13 and 18. Warren Central in 2016 and Penn in 2015. That's in the top 50, and that's the last ranked, the final ranking of the year. So
yeah, that was a year when Penn was stacked, though.
Yeah, Penn was 46th that year, and Modern Day was 50th. That's the year they won. I'm pretty positive they won state that year. So
yeah, Penn Cathedral was a good duel also. I mean, I think that it speaks to the event. If you get invited, it's good to go because you're going to get a lot of good matches. There's not a lot of easy matches there. Penn Cathedral 28-36. Penn Perry Meridian 37-32. I thought they wrestled really well.
Yeah. There's some good matches in there. I mean,
Center Grove Modern Day, man, coming down to the wire, right?
Yep, coming down to
Trey.
RD3.
Trey getting a fall. RD3 bumping up, raising the hand at 220, going up and beating a ranked wrestler. I think he took a couple losses that day, but that was good, man.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, picking that one. Yeah, that was obviously you'd like to see him wrestle Critchfield, but obviously Johnson wasn't wrestling. I'm not sure exactly why, but and they got a big pin over. I mean, Ralph's no slouch either, and
yeah,
he knew you had to get a win. So, and he goes big or goes home. So,
yeah. So Brownsburg, Crown Point, really good duel. Probably, just a really tough duel across the board. I think I had it 7-7, but doing it on paper is always going to be difficult because you're always going to have some bumps in the lineup. You're always going to have, moving around. Those guys probably did that duel 100 times.
yeah.
They started at 13, Haynes and Captor, but you talk about like, Captor keeps it to a decision there. He doesn't even give it the major. Preston Haynes gonna be in the mix for a state title. I would think. I think he's right up there towards the top.
Yeah, that's huge. Obviously, you come down to the end and to 1 point matchers. You're looking at where Brownsburg could have gained a point or two. I don't know what the tiebreaker would have been. I was talking to Bill this week. I want to say they needed to win. Period. I think they would have lost. I think Brownsburg had the criteria.
That's what they said the criteria. So you go. Captor saves a point there. Miller gets a major. I thought there was a lot of just style conflicts. So like obviously I come from a different area of the state where my idea of stalling is different than what some other people's ideas of stalling is going to be. I think we're more accustomed, like how they call it in Illinois, I guess. I know we've talked about it before, being at the Al Smith, where stalling's called different there, I remember Shutley yelled at me. I don't know if he yelled at me. He just asked me about, like, why is these guys calling stalling like that when they're not stalling? I was like, that's how they call stalling, man. I don't know. I'm not official. But I'm over here calling stalling too. No. Yeah. So it's just a different pace, right? But that match, I thought that I guess I'll say this. Like, me and Eric McGill, who's I think is a great official, have a very different opinion of what stalling is. Like, I think that if a kid's on bottom and he's getting worked on top, whether like he's trying not to get turned, I don't necessarily feel like he's stalling there. Like if Drew Hughes is on your back and he has a power half, I also don't think as your shoulder's getting ripped apart, you shouldn't be hit for stalling.
Yes.
Like, I don't know if you're stalling as much as surviving. I guess there's a difference.
Try not to have shoulder surgery.
I believe Evan Cruz gave up 4 stall points in that match. Not just stall calls, but 4 stall points, and which gives him a major there. Where I don't necessarily feel like, to me, like stalling's different. But I didn't necessarily feel he was stalling there. But I was like, all right, cool, man. That's going to set the tone of the match. You know, there'd be a lot of stalling calls.
Especially that kind of match. I mean, I don't mind it because you know that guys on both sides are going to be clamming up a little bit and maybe not being as offensive if it was state quarterfinals where you win or you lose. There's no in between. You can lose by a major, you can lose by 1 point, you still lose and you don't advance. Here, losing by 7 points is way different than losing by 8.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I think so. Like a major there. Frazier gets a major. 12-4. Ison had won that match. I think, and I'm pretty sure on the page, as a Brownsburg fan, they were like, fall here, decision here, fall here for Brownsburg, decision here. Haynes hit a fall over Ball. And I was like, it was a 1-0 match last time. I don't know if he's getting a fall.
Yeah.
But I think Anthony Ball is one of my favorite guys. I think he's a sleeper guy that I think could be in the mix for a state title. I mean, Zeke's obviously really tough.
Yeah.
But he went out there to win, man. Like he didn't back down a bit. Like that 6-2, obviously it opened up, but he was pressing the action. I bet that's a kid that was probably upset. I bet he felt like he should have won that match.
Yeah.
One of the weirder things I'd ever seen. Very, very weird. So Brownsburg has to send out. They have to send out. It's their call. They can't just, because I think someone had said like, oh man, like why don't they just forfeit to Mendez? Well, Crown Point had extra guys too, and I know they had an extra 32 there. So if you throw out a forfeit, right, they're just gonna bump Jesse up. Or I mean, where do you bump a guy out?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
the thing is, on top of that, one of the first criteria is least number of forfeits. So if they forfeited to him and it come down to criteria, which it was that damn close, that would have been one of the worst ways to lose. So you have to send somebody out. I mean, especially, you got to send out a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, and honestly, that's something like they did something in that match I'd never seen before, and I'm still, and maybe you can explain it to me differently, and I'm sure like Kyle will give me some, give me the business about it. Jesse gets a takedown, right? Cuts him, and then they injury default, but there was no injury.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, and I don't know. I don't understand. Obviously,
maybe there was an injury. It didn't seem like an injury on the video. I wasn't there, but I just thought that was like a very weird. I had never seen that. They said it happened at Al Smith or at Mater Day. I guess at one of the heavyweight matches.
Yeah,
but it was just like a weird back and forth. Like
I don't know. My thinking is maybe your guy stalls enough and can stay off his back and gives up a tech. I mean, I don't know. To me, as a coach, I don't understand why not. Worst case scenario, he's gonna get pinned. Best case scenario, he gets teched. I mean, obviously Mendez is pretty darn good, so you at least give yourself a shot to not to save that point. So
it was just weird.
Yeah.
I mean, does it go against criteria? I don't know. I really don't. Those guys are obviously...
An injury default would be a 6-point win, so it'd count as a pin, but it would not count as a forfeit. So like,
yeah.
So I can't. The criteria is like most number of wins, or least amount of points deducted, most wins, and then least amount of forfeits, and then it's most. Excuse me, most 6-point wins. So if they forfeit, that's the third criteria, which is obviously the probably one they're going to get hit with. So,
yeah, I don't know. And those guys are much better coaches than I am, obviously.
yeah.
Like, not in softball. I don't know how their softball travel coaching is, but definitely wrestling coaches, they're better than me. I will say, Drew Willis's dad's team did beat our butts pretty good early on. So if he tells me he's a better softball coach than me, he might be right.
Nice.
But it was just like a weird. I don't know. I'd never seen it, so it's one of those things that I'd never seen. I'm sure that they have a strategy behind it. I don't know. To me, I had no clue.
Yeah,
I think you I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get like too crazy into it, but there's an opportunity for one of the best to ever do it. I didn't like on the other side of that. I didn't like. I think one of Link's last year is he tried to bump Eric Roach 2 ways to wrestle John Sims, and it was against the rules.
Yeah.
And Eric Roach didn't get to wrestle in the team state that year, and I think I always felt bad for that. Like, that's his last match with his team, in a team setting. I thought that was really cool, and I thought he lost that. On like kind of like a technicality that they didn't understand.
Yeah.
But I'm like, dude, it's a huge duel, man. I don't know. I don't know if like the momentum's the next match. Like these are high level guys. This isn't like.
I don't think Jesse Mendez winning a match really.
But
is momentum.
If Dylan McKelvey would have pinned Jesse Mendez,
yeah, maybe
it goes the other way. I just thought it was weird. I just thought that was a very weird thing. I am using my platform to vent about it, I guess.
Yes.
But I just thought that was like a weird thing. I'm sure Kyla tell me who the White Sox should get at second base and who the Vikings should hire as a head coach. And he'll tell me that I'm wrong, and then he'll explain it to me, and maybe I'll understand. Yeah. And then they bump, and I think I think I had texted you out the day like bumps weren't really working in a lot of matches. I mean, it did for Center Grove against Mater Dei, but for the most part, the bump or movement wasn't the move. But I mean, you roll the dice. Gavin Garcia is really good, but so is Nick Tatini.
Yeah,
I mean, Nick Tatini's obviously really good. Blaze Garcia, Nick Tatini was a really good match. I thought that was going to be I actually thought that and Gendris's match with Hockaday was going to be the swing matches either way, right? And I think that like when Brownsburg had a report first, but I thought that those were the two matches that were going to determine the duel. It was 45 and 6.
Yeah.
Like when I did it on paper, which is make believe and just text talk with you guys, I thought 45 and 6 were the matches that was going to come down to. And Blaze Garcia and Nick Tatini was really good at the Carnahan. So I thought that was a toss-up match. And I hadn't seen 106, Hockaday and Gendris, but I know they're both really good. So I know that Gavin Garcia is really good. But, I mean, yeah, that like we talked about in the Jay County match, you're giving up a lot of size and weight with really good wrestlers, Yeah. Nick Tatini's coming down. He was at 70 last year. Now, was he a full 170? I don't think so. I think he was drinking a lot of water to make 170. But he's still not a small 45.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Tatini wins 11-5. I think some of those shots, that maybe Gavin Garcia hits and kind of gets two on some of the other guys, were getting stopped, and then you bump Sam or Blaze Garcia to wrestle Sam Goyne. I thought Sammy's been wrestling well, and Blaze did a good job because I think Sammy was right there for a tech fall against Cicerelli, who's really tough,
Yeah.
So you go.
I mean, who are they? I was looking at their lineup. Ison wrestled 52 for at least one of the duels. So who would have wrestled 70? Oh, Brewer. So they bumped Brewer out of the lineup for that. Okay.
Now Brewer wrestled Cruz.
Oh, they bumped Brewer up, didn't they?
They bumped out whoever they had at 82, right?
Okay, so that's who they bumped out. So they
which is I
okay.
think they're the cross. It was who was the 52 last year? Soon.
Yeah, yeah, he's been the one that they've ran out at 82. Okay, so that makes
But I think,
sense. But you're still
but
bumping 3 guys up, 4 guys. You're
but you
bumping
also had Gunner there, so I mean I don't know.
3.
Gunner had made 82. It'd have been interesting. Just the flip of that would have been interesting. You know, but
You're
then you
bumping
go
6, 7 guys up. Half your lineup's getting bumped up, which is very interesting.
uh, I thought Blaze wrestled Sammy really tough, 8-1, held it to a decision. Sam's been wrestling well, won Al Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Blaze has been wrestling well. Goodwin and Ison, 21-5. That was, man, even in that it seemed like it was a little bit further of a match. I think those guys were kind of confused, but there was some chippiness in that match too. I think the Brownsburg coaches wanted a point there. I think like I know I talked to someone and they said like if Tom Brands is your coach, they call that he calls that hard wrestling, you know? Like if you're an Iowa fan, you call it hard wrestling. If you're, a Penn State fan, you probably call it excessive, but it was good. Cicerelli over Anthony White. I thought Anthony White wrestled well for the weekend. Cicerelli is really good. But Cicerelli has been weighing 52 also. He's wrestling 52 at the HH also, right? I mean, Anthony White looked a lot bigger than he did. That's giving up almost 2 weight classes. I don't know what he weighed in at.
60 at Carnahan. Carnahan was at 52.
Yeah, he's at 52 this weekend.
Yeah. So yeah, he weighed in at 160. That's interesting.
Cruz and Brewer, tough for Brewer. I thought Brewer went at him, but Cruz is tough, man. He's right up there in the mix for a title. He's right. I think he has one loss. One loss is to number 1 ranked guy. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. But 95. I would like to see Gunnar Henry and Cruz there. I think that would have been a good match.
Yeah, that'd have been a real good match. I mean, obviously, Henry kind of surprised us going down to 82. He's wrestling 82 this weekend, so it sounds like that might be his state weight class. That could be very probably a good move for him. But yeah, it'd been good to see him against Cruz.
Yeah, I think these guys were Buchanan. I'm sorry, thank you, Landon. But I mean, like a lot of these matches, they did their job, right? Like the Brownsburg guys, you're asking really good wrestlers to. Maybe you think Gavin Garcia gets a win there against Tatini. I would think that's the reason you bump there, right? You think Gavin's going to get a dub.
Yeah. And
he's obviously good enough to do that. Blaze holds a major where Samuel was tech fault Cicerelli. Ison saves a point by not getting pinned with a tech, saves 1. And a 1-point duel, those are huge. We talked about that. Mm-hmm. We talked about that early on with Captor. Cicerelli gets a major against White. I think that was well earned. I mean, White, like I said, like you might be going up 2 weight classes in that. That's not a small kid. Yeah. He's a pretty good athlete. Cruz comes back with a major over Brewer. Brewer's gonna be really good. I know. I'll get to that in a second too. Henry gets a fall over Will Clark. That was a good match at Carnahan. That's huge. I don't know what happened. Like the audio was on, which was great. I know there was a big post going about trying to get the audio on. My new favorite thing is like I think I probably would have won 5 or 6 more matches if I had more coaching from our wrestling managers. Yes. The wrestling manager, I'm gonna tell you, maybe we did. I just never heard it. I asked you, like, does your guys' managers, coach as much from the corner as as the coaches do? Is crazy. Like, are you listening for your managers to tell you to get out there or squeeze?
Get up, get up.
Yeah, geez, get up.
Thank you, Cassie. I'll get up. I
yeah,
about doing that move.
But I didn't hear what happened. I think it was I don't know if it was an audio thing or what. I didn't see what happened. Yep, so nervy. They said that a lot. That was said a lot. I understand, but hey, to that I understand. Like, I didn't get in there. I thought at the Carnahan, at some point they had to come tell whoever was at the table. I don't know if it was Crown Points managers or whoever. Like, you can't be telling people that they're garbage. It's a national broadcast. You know, like, this is going on nationally. You had Ohio there, you had Illinois there, you had Michigan there, and you're like saying, like, that kid sucks, right? You can't do that. Like, I very clearly in one of the matches, like, hey, like, you can't do that. And I don't know who it was that told him that. So I understand why, like, on the flip of that, Brownsburg, who was at that event, was like, that's not going to happen to us. You know? And I think several times, like, you could hear the girls saying, like, my mom said that we need to stop talking. I'm going to text. My mom says we're talking too much, which is funny.
Yeah, you get. I mean, we have it at IPO all the time, and you remind them every day. You know, okay, remember the mics are right beside you; they can pick up what. And then you just kind of, as the day goes on, you forget about it, and then all of a sudden you're hearing about.
And I'm not just talking. It's not even just wrestling managers. Could you imagine if they put that, like, right in your corner?
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine if they had the microphone hot, like, in the coach's corner?
Yeah.
Like, what gets picked up through the day on that? Like, on top of, like, it's probably going to be a lot of swear words, you know, like, you know, there's just some heat of the moment things that are probably said that you don't want to, like, your kids to hear.
Cut that.
Yeah.
Well, they did that with Certus at the Dan Gable. They mic'd him up for one of Nam Doan's matches. I know they cut some of the things out, but, you know.
Was he composed or what?
Yeah, because he's mic'd, obviously.
He's super composed in general. I feel like, man, calling stalling from the table was a typical dad move. There was some stalling. I love that too. Like, I like whenever there's just a big stall call coming from the table. The head table where people are checking in, they're calling for stalling. Yes. I thought that was great. But I understood why, like, the audio wasn't on, but it is weird to listen to it with no audio. Yes. But Gunnar Henry with a huge fall over Will Clark. I cut myself off, but I don't know what happened, but they hit him for a team point. So I have no clue. Like, I had to ask. Some people said he said something. Some people say, you know, it was an action. I don't know. But, like, you're watching that live and you're like, they just got hit for a team point. Dude, that's going to be huge in this duel, right? Like, that's going to be a huge swing. And then on the flip of that, his twin brother goes out, Paul Clark, and gets a tech fall. And, you know, like, at that point, you're like, okay, they kind of get it rolling. And then he takes his straps down. And it's, like, right in front of the camera, too. It's like, and then they hit him for a team point. So now you're like, dude, what is going on? You know?
You know, I mean, obviously we don't know exactly what happened at 195, but the straps thing is one of the, you know, that's something you tell your kids 1,000 times a year, and they still do it. They still do it. And oh my goodness, I can only imagine the steam coming out of Derek's ears at that time. I mean, I get mad, and it's in random duels that don't matter. You know, it's like,
and Derek owned it too. He went on the board and owned it. He was like, "Yeah, we pulled the straps down. They got us. Yeah. That's the rule."
You know, I think it's a dumb rule, but it's a rule, and we all know it. We all know that.
If you're Adam Chalfant and you win a state title and you take your straps down and you're jacked and you're just breathing muscles, go for it.
Well, there's no team points then. I think that was still team state time. So what are they gonna do? And plus,
we were
like Winchester was going to win state. Y'all do what?
We used to do, like, our softball team was like in a dual facility with a baseball team, so we'd have, like, dual practices. Our softball girls would be down here, which were like 13 and 14-year-old girls, and over here would be like these high school kids, and they'd be doing this velocity buildup. And these kids were, like, you know, young and full of life and in high school, and they're throwing their shirts off, and, like, you're at that age, the girls are down there looking. I remember there was one kid. And he was just chubby, man. And I'm not body shaming anybody. I'm not in the best shape. But I'm thinking like, hey, bro, that dude right there is 6'4", like 200 pounds shredded, and you're like 5'8", 220 pounds of goo. Like everything's moving that's not supposed to be moving right now. You need to put your shirt on.
Yes.
You're the guy that swims in a t-shirt, you know? So if that 6'4" dude wants to throw the shirt off, cool, man. I get it. So I don't know what happened there, man. I'm glad it worked out that it was 1-1 because as it's looking there, you'd think it's coming down to a tiebreaker, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, especially, Leighton's probably going to get a pin. And then obviously Hakkaday's a decision away. So,
and so then to that too, man, it was crazy. So, and I've talked about it. Like obviously, Liam Begley's dad was one of my coaches. Awesome dude, veteran. Like I think multiple tours. Like one of my favorite people on the planet. I thought Liam was going with them for obviously Leighton's one of the best dudes. He's number one in the state for a reason. Like I'd be willing to bet if you asked him, he thought he was winning a state title last year. Your guy got it, Joe. But like, I know you walked away. It was like Leighton's getting the next two.
Yeah.
And Liam was going with them, back and forth. And he just said, hey, I'm going for it, man. I'm going for the dub. Goes throw, goes straight to his back. Yeah, Hector's right. They ended like with 2 number ones, right?
Yeah.
Like that's where they want to end. That's like, hey, can we stack, our 2 number ones and you guys stack your 2 number ones? And
yeah,
right
where they knew that they're closing out with hammers, and that I was, as a coach, okay, at the end, I know we have 9 points here. Okay, you're looking at the score, especially 38 through 60, not exactly going your way. You're like, okay, I know we have 9 points at the end. We just gotta figure out these next 2 or 3 matches.
And then I thought I don't know what happened in 95. I really don't, and I'm sure someone will let me know, but I really don't know what happened in 95. But the strap down thing, like I don't know. Is that like a makeup or what? But man, you go out. I thought they were gonna.
It happened. There's no question. The strap down thing happened. So it's not even a. It's one of those things the refs do not want to call. I mean, we literally almost had a duel come down to it. Kid put his straps down like right as he was getting his hand raised, and I was like, the duel almost came down to a tie, and I'd have been like, well, we'd have won if you would have called this. And when it came down to I was like, oh goodness, this is going to be a fun conversation with the ref because I think we had a loss on the. I mean, if we had lost on the tiebreakers, so. But it is the straps happened, and it's a dumb rule, but we all know it. I mean, whether you agree with it or not, it's a rule, and you have to follow it. So,
I thought they were gonna hit Leighton with a team point. Like he stood over Begley, flexed, and yelled in his face, and I was like, and I know him, dude, and he's like a nice kid too.
Yeah, he's pretty low.
That's not like. I would be willing to bet that's the most, and I know his dad watches these a lot, and his parents watch this a lot. I'd be willing to bet that's one of the most emotions I've ever seen him after a match, ever. And the emotions were high. It was a huge duel. They had the lights out. They did a great job. I thought that that was pretty crazy. But that's huge. Now you're coming down, but you got Hockaday has to get a major, right? Was it a major to tie?
Yep. And I end up that's the only match I watched live. I had to go to the grocery store after our event, and I was watching it when I was at Walmart.
I was on the edge of my seat watching. And that was a good match. Gendrith puts him to his back. Hockaday gets that takedown or the reversal and near fall right at the end of the second to go back up.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked that that's a state semifinal match. I wouldn't be shocked if that's under the lights.
Yeah.
That was good. That back and forth was really good.
Yeah, Hockaday was just throwing everything. Hockaday's like, I gotta get points, and I mean, and it'll be interesting what if they wrestle again. It'll be a different match because they're both going to be in different situations. Obviously, John was just trying not to give up bonus and stuff, and Hockaday was trying, it's gonna be a little bit more calculated of a match if they meet up again.
I thought that was good. Just a great duel. I think like the team state. I mean, people can say what they want about it. I don't know. I hope everyone's in unison that like it's in a great event. 3 of the 4 classes came down to the last match, which is amazing. I would be willing to bet that's one of the better. I know like Hobart and Modern Day, that wasn't the finals, but that was a really good match in like 2000. I know there were some really good matches across the board. Like Portage knocking off Modern Day for the run, like 04, 05 was really good.
Mm-hmm.
That was good. That came down to the wire. 2 nationally ranked teams, 2 top 5 guys going at it. Like that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Right? The Al Smith champ. Going at it with the number 1 ranked guy who is the IPO champ.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Yep.
I mean, thought that
just overall, I mean, all classes it's kind of crazy to think about how this has grown into a lot of emails between some people that will probably never people didn't realize had a little influence on how things shook out. And I know there's a person I know. Derek Snyder was very big behind this, and I have the email receipts. I have the receipts. He was very much for this because the year that everything got axed, he's like, dude, we got to do something, and kind of was part of that. And he never gets any credit, and he was very much pushing. There was a lot of talk about, well, why don't we just have like let's invite a dozen teams and have them wrestle. And they're like, no, you need to have this as a event. You need to make this something prestigious and something that is earned, and it's grown. It's been pretty cool to see the growth of this event. And honestly, I don't mind that it's not sanctioned by the IHSA because I think it's taken a life of its own.
I think it's what's really cool in the IHSA, and if you listen to the Wrestling Weekly with Dane and Rex, you heard the process of getting women's wrestling sanctioned from Robert Falkins right from the horse's mouth, right? Like he's the main guy. Yeah. And you hear like the loops and the steps that it has to go through to get any kind of change. And we know obviously in the individual side how hard it is to change. Like they've changed this several times, and it's been for the better. Where they added a 4A class for the bigger, and then now it's 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A. And then initially, remember when they changed it, they were going to go all 8s across the board.
Yeah.
And then the 1A and 2A is like that's not fair. And they're like, okay, cool, you guys get 12.
Yeah,
you're right. You guys get, and it wasn't like a committee. It wasn't like hey, we gotta like let's do a vote and do this huge vote for it. It was like, yo, you guys are right. You guys get 12. These guys get 8. Adrian has this awesome formula, which is pretty accurate, which is eerie.
Yeah.
Like, yes. I don't even know if wrestling's fun for him anymore. Like, he just puts in the computers like, these are your winners. Yeah. And then the next layer with last year, it showed us with the COVID thing where, like, hey, like, we can get a team, like, whoever, maybe we're off and we have, like, a buffer. We can vote teams in to have them come in and compete. Like, last year, Floyd Central, and obviously, like, this year, Delta and Carmel and those teams that got in. And Ron Cowley, which was in the championship match. It was a vote in.
I think that's a typical, if you're a 3A team that you get voted in, you got to make the finals.
Yeah, and I think that, like, and it's a wrestling community thing, and the IHSWCA has done amazing with that, and those guys are open. Like Greg Ratliff, like, he was awesome, man. He's like open to like suggestions. He wants to make it great. He's worked with IndianaMat, and obviously Dane's doing the pre-show or the release show on his show, which is being streamed with us to get more publicity for it. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, being able to, like you said, being able to change something, like, especially like you said about when they went to four classes and they're like, oh, we're just going to go 8. And then kind of started doing the math. You're getting 8 out of about 60, 70 schools versus 8 out of 100 schools. Why don't you, give those smaller schools something more to go. And then they changed the brackets, which is nice, easier to follow. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I hate, and it's a shorter day.
Yeah.
Because the pools were just, and it's so hard to, as someone that's trying to promote and, what does this mean? They're in this pool. Well, it's so hard to explain. Just put them in a bracket. Brackets are easy to follow. People, every sport knows what a bracket is. They know what the Final Four, is. They know what those brackets are. So, but yeah,
They went.
I'm glad, and I think being able to change it to how we want it, and be able to talk to Greg Ratliff or whoever we can and say, hey, what if we do this or that? And they're like, that's not a bad idea. And then next thing you know, they're doing it. So
Great dude, man. And I think the people they have like in place now, they're awesome, man. Like the coach board is good. You have some great people. I know one of the big things before was like, hey, we're all not going to go out to Fort Wayne and watch this. Like, can we get a stream, right?
Yeah.
And you got awesome track people in Indiana, and they get a stream going. You have it streamed and you can watch it live, and you're still getting good numbers there. There's still a lot of people going there.
Yeah.
But now it's on. You can watch it at home. You don't have to go out. You don't have to be at all the events, all the different locations. Just amazing. It's a really good event, and they're right, man. I think you look at like the girls wrestling. The regionals have grown. I thought there was one thing in that like Robert Falcon's thing where he's like, yeah, like if there's a women's wrestling, they can't compete in the boys.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many want to or do, but I'm sure that some of them do want to compete.
Yeah. Yeah. The only complaint I can say about this team state this year, and I think hopefully it was a COVID precaution, but they definitely need to have it in one place. I think it's better for everybody. It's easier to administrate in one place. Yeah. I can't imagine trying to run. I mean, obviously this event, it runs itself. It's not that hard to run it, but you have to have someone there administrating it. It'd be so much easier if it was in one place, and I think it's better for the sport. I mean, heck, how cool would it have been the 1A and 2A teams? Like, holy cow, Mendez and Zeke are wrestling.
Yeah.
All those guys. How many times does Tell City get to see Seltzer and Mendez? Period. That kind of stuff. I think that's what's great for the sport.
True, man.
All in one place.
I know the Hammocks were hanging out with the Mendez's last year.
Yeah,
that's the fruit too.
Maybe I'm wrong there, but you know what I mean.
No, you're right. I think when it was at the Coliseum, it was really cool. We just got to find a venue that can hold it. I mean, I thought that was one of the cooler things back in the day.
Yeah.
I think they've done a really good job with it.
Yeah. So
I think for the 4A, and I know we were saying on the board a little bit, like Crown Point loses 2. They lose 2 wrestlers, and they're good. Like Tatini and Mendez are really good, but they're gaining some hammers too. They're going to gain Landon Hawkins, Sonny Sessa. I think Griffin Van Telch is an 8th grader. Brownsburg's losing some, but they got a backup heavyweight. I don't know if he's in high school right now or he's a 7th or an 8th grader now. He's a monster, dude. He's good. Like, so, I mean, he has to wait behind Leighton, but he's really good.
Yeah.
They're going to get Rojas. They're going to get, Dickman. They're going to get, some really good guys. I mean, I always say, look at the youth board. Like, the youth board is littered with Crown Point and Brownsburg guys. Center Grove's young. And they went out there and took 3rd without some hammers in their lineup. They have some guys, me and Triple B, because I think the Evansville came out today, right? Evansville semi-state rankings?
Not today. He hasn't told me.
They're getting close. Okay. They're getting close. But
better check my text.
they have some absolute hammers in their backup team might be a top 20 team.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah.
Like, dude, you're talking about guys like because he had said that let me get these names right. They had the wrestle off at 38, and Mills isn't going to be in the lineup. That's still won that match. And, you got guys like, Hyatt Yeager's behind there. I mean, you got, like, guys that are top 20 ranked guys that are not in the lineup. McConnell's going to be at 60 at their conference, but McConnell wasn't in the lineup there. Like, you have some legit guys that are really tough. So they're going to – it's hard, man. It's in college. You can't just get in the transfer portal and hope for the best. They might, they could stop you. You could lose a year. And they got good coaches, man. So they're young. Crown Point's got some young guys. They got some guys coming up. Brownsburg got some young guys. Like the youth forum's really cool, and I think they do an awesome job with the what are they, top? Are they the top 50 in the rankings? Let me look at this real quick. Yeah, top 50, right? Or top 48. Crown Point 47, seventh grader. Crown Point 45. Perry's got a couple guys. Avon, Portage, Switzerland, Lake Central, Perry Meridian. So Perry looks like they're reloading. Avon, Mater Dei, Castle, Newcastle, Penn, Mount Vernon, Cohen, Hobart, Southport. This is going back to front. Avon, Brownsburg, Monrovia, Crown Point, 8th grader, Crown Point, 8th grader, Brownsburg, 8th grader, Avon, 7th grader, Yorktown, 8th grader, Hobart, Rochester, 8th grader, Brownsburg, 8th grader, Brownsburg, 8th grader, New Prairie, 8th grader, Brownsburg, 7th grader, Lowell, 8th grader, West Central, 8th grader, Cathedral, 8th grader, Avon, Brownsburg, 8th grader, Brownsburg, 8th grader, Crown Point, 8th grader. Like, those guys are pretty good, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they're not, like, those teams aren't going away. Like, I don't know if, you know, some of those guys end up at other schools or what, because you never know. It's Indiana. You know, the region's the region, and Indy's the Indy area. And it seems like Evansville, Mater Dei, has been getting a lot more. For as much as we used to say, like, well, they got a lot of Weinzaffels, they're getting a lot of Gabe Sellers from Terre Haute and Hunter Mays from Floyd Central, and you know, Hayhurst was there. They got a fifth-year senior, which I think is crazy, from Mount Carmel. But those teams aren't going away, and I think that's like the biggest thing is like this might have been chapter one, like going forward.
Yeah, there's going to be quite a few. I mean, they're going to go back and forth for a while.
You know, and they're going to need some of those guys to grow and eat and get bigger. I mean, I don't know if you're trying to do like Klauser and go from 32 to 70, but that definitely doesn't hurt. I mean, they're going to lose an 82-pounder next year. You might need to that's a huge jump, but you need that because you can't have – I mean, you can only have so many 6s and 13s.
Yeah, yes, exactly. They need some kids to grow. Maybe get that spring out of Gary. It's magic spring that makes them grow, put some weight on. Getting the
It's wild. We're gonna go there. We're gonna take a visit.
go next week. I guess might as well. You know, as we're on the Crown Point topic, we are going to be streaming. It's working on exactly how we're doing this, but we're going to be streaming the Mount Carmel versus Crown Point match next Friday at Mount Carmel. We're going to rough area, so
going to Hyde Park.
So that's next Friday. It starts at 6:30 Central Time, so it'll be 7:30, right? It'll be 7:30 the real rest of Indiana time.
I don't know. What do you guys watch? How do you guys watch your Chicago sports on your guys' time?
Yeah. Yes. We didn't watch very many Cubs games this year for some odd reason.
No, I think that's gonna be an awesome duel. I think it's cool that we're gonna go there. 2 nationally ranked programs, a lot of Indiana guys, tons of Indiana guys.
Yeah.
Talking to some of the Mount Carmel Indiana guys, they have some Indiana guys out of the lineup. They're trying to do wrestle-offs to get in. They want to wrestle the Crown Point guys, you know, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so we'll have more information on that. Working on a little page with the streaming and everything, so keep an eye out for that coming out early this week. I got to talk to Mr. Surtsis. Obviously, Alex Surtsis, he was a decent wrestler in high school, wasn't he?
Yeah, pretty decent. Beat my brother. I mean,
he beat your brother
19 times or something.
Beat someone that drank out that spring.
Yep. I think he used to drink out of that spring too. So,
so they were
just
equal.
Hit for him.
So yeah, So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to doing that. I know I just got to talk to some logistics about that. Kind of excited to head over there, and you know, maybe we'll get some good food. We got to find a good place to eat. Obviously, we're gonna be in Chicago.
Man, we can find a bunch of good stuff.
I know that's the bad thing. I know there's good food there.
Really good food. I don't know if I'm trying to hang out in that area right there by the high school, but we can find something. The Net Gyms had a ton of ton of history there, man. They've had some really good wrestlers go through that program at Mount Carmel.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So that's a pretty cool, good program. And I know, I mean, you can go look and check it. They're the Mark Carmel kids, you know, Crown Point and Brownsburg both have wrestled a pretty good schedule. Mount Carmel's wrestled Iron Man. They wrestled the Dvorak, which is the Al Smith on steroids.
Yeah.
They wrestled the Dan Gable Donnybrook in Iowa. That was pretty good. Obviously, if it has Dan Gable in it, I think they have to beat Dan Gable. Everyone has to beat Dan Gable in the finals.
I think Dan Gable was actually in attendance for the Dan Gable Donnybrook.
Yeah. You have to be. Just like Wild Bill, the Wild Bill invite this weekend. He's going to be at Concordia. So, I mean, you got to, if it's named after you, Al Smith was at the Al Smith. So, you got to, if it's named after you, you got to be there, I guess. Hand out awards.
Yeah, I think I'd be willing to bet Mount Carmel wrestles one of the tougher schedules in the country.
Yeah, I think they were at Cheesehead too. If I'm not mistaken.
I don't know if they're. I don't think they went to Cheesehead this year. I was talking to Zach.
Where are they going? Oh, they're going to at least on their schedule. They're going to the Detroit Central Catholic duels with Davison, Detroit Central Catholic, or Detroit Catholic Central. Sorry, St. Ed's. I don't know. They just tweeted that they're looking for teams. I don't know if they got. I'll have to pull that up.
I'm trying to get Zach to come down to the Carnahan next year. How do you say his high school? Like,
Kuna.
They host a Cheesehead. I was talking to him. He wants to try to build a side up there for those guys. He's jealous of what we have in Indiana. He was an Indiana guy.
Yep.
So that what they have is not even close.
Rankings. He was the OG Newcastle guy. Or actually, I think, oh, geez, their one assistant coach was the OG.
Dave Thorne.
Yeah, Dave Thorne, rest in peace. I think he was one of the OG guys. But yeah, the Detroit Catholic Central duels has St. Ed's, Dundee, who's DH, Davison, and Lowell. So, and Mark Carmel. So pretty good duels there.
Pretty good day.
Yeah.
So I told him, he was like, yeah, we're looking for something tough. I said, you need to go to the Carnahan, man. He's like, well, we're gonna be really good next year. We got some really good juniors. We're gonna have a nationally ranked like 32. It's like, cool, man. Flossmoor was there. You go see Nasir Bailey and those guys.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I know
maybe.
And Zach brings a bunch of guys to IPO too, so I know they're pretty solid. I think I know Bill. I talked to Bill this week. He said they got into a Wisconsin team, and
Arrowhead, right there where I don't know if it's official yet. Maybe I shouldn't tell everybody. I think that's who they're trying to get.
Yeah, isn't that where Askren's went?
Yeah, that's where Askren's school is at, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna have some good kids. I think that's where Askren went to high school. If I'm not mistaken.
That's how me and Zach started talking about it. He said like they're really good in individual team. They have like some really strong individuals. Not as great a dual team, but he said they can definitely put some points up.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited for Friday night, next Friday. But I guess we have a little bit of time to what's going on this week. We're a little bit late in the week because of a little bit of sickness running through houses and stuff.
Yeah, we were gonna go yesterday. I took my daughter to her hitting lesson out in Elkhart. I was out towards you guys.
Yeah, getting closer to the Wayne.
Yeah.
Got, I guess the big one would be probably tournaments wise. There's a lot of conferences going on this weekend. Why is there 2 Garrett invites? Should only be 1. Who did that? I'm gonna yell at somebody.
Not me, man. I didn't add it.
Somebody did that. Which one's the right one?
I know in the region, DACs this week. Usually pretty good. A lot of good individual matchups. Crown Point's obviously done well.
Yeah. You got the Hoosier Heritage Conference. That's always a pretty good one. Delta, Greenfield Central, with Mount Vernon, Northern Lakes, Mishawaka, Northridge, Northwood, Plymouth. Oh, Northwood's not going to be at our event this weekend, is there? Because they're not at the Wild Bill.
Hobart CP tomorrow.
Ooh, that'll be a good
I'm sure
one.
they're gonna have that going. I don't know if they're doing the coverage for RSN. I'm not sure. They didn't contact me. I think I'm out. Mold news.
The Mid-State, you'll have Franklin and Perry, Plainfield, Whiteland, Martinsville, Mooresville. There's some good matches there. The Wild Bill. That's where Carol will be. We'll be taming Wild Bill, hopefully. Hoosier Crossroads, that's going to be probably one of the bigger ones, is Brownsburg, Fishers, Franklin Central, Hamilton Southeastern, Noblesville, Westfield, Zionsville. Always, I mean, a lot of ranked matches. You're going to have Ison versus Chef. Round 2, around like 17. They're going to a lot in the next few weeks.
Yeah, those guys, that just starts. MIC, yeah. Last one for Carmel and Center Grove.
Yeah, yep. They're gonna want to do some damage there.
NIC, Penn, Mishawaka. That's always a good one. Yep, Christian Carroll and Long Grange, possibly.
Yeah, Jimtown's there also. South Bend Schools, Bremen. Who, yeah, that's a weird conference. That's a really
it's in the Michiana area, right?
Yeah. But, well, Mishawaka's not there, though. That's what's kind of funny.
Oh, that's right.
Because they went to the NLC, Northern Lakes. Yeah, it's all conference shifting. Obviously, Duneland. There'll be some good matches there.
Yeah.
They don't do they wait to do the brackets at the Duneland like till the morning of or something?
I thought they usually did them the last Wednesday. They usually have I thought like last night they would have had them done. Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes they're released, sometimes they're not. I don't know. I thought they'd be up posted today. Are they not?
I haven't looked. I've been swamped
this
week.
Let's see.
Not feeling the best. Obviously, if people can't tell, I've been feeling the best this week. So, yeah, a lot of conferences going on. Kind of whittling down as far as events. I know we had Bloomington South and
NCC's going to a round robin this year. I don't like that. I mean, I guess some of the teams are a little down. Andrean probably don't have a full team.
Yeah, Bloomington South sold Plymouth East last night. The result was on the thing, but I guess not. I guess that was not on track. So I don't know what the result of that was.
So. Yeah, a lot of good conferences this week, next week, which is right now starting to get in the swing of it, right?
Yeah, it's starting to really get some good stuff going on. I mean, obviously you're going to get the brackets, you're going to get some records, get some head-to-head matches, especially conferences. You're going to be matching up a lot of similar teams like the HCC and stuff. A lot of those teams are pretty solid. MIC is gonna have some good matches there. So yeah, it's gonna be the MIC will be pretty tough. Obviously, Center Grove. It'll be interesting to see how they do. They could easily have 14 in the finals. It could be Center Grove versus the World, and that's not an easy conference. I mean, you have Carmel, Warren. The other
that could be the DAC, man. It could be. I mean, similar with the DAC, it could be Crown Point versus the World too.
Yeah, just crazy to think about, and crazy to see.
Yeah, I mean, it was like that at the Al Smith, right? 9 in the finals, pretty good.
Yeah. So, should be some good matches there. Oh man, it's 11:00. We've been going for a while. Anything else? I guess. I mean, we spent a lot on Team State. A little bit of a recap a little later than we wanted to, but a lot of big matches coming up this week. Anything else we need to talk about this week?
I feel like there was something I wanted to say, but I don't remember. I was thinking about it earlier too. I just, I think it's just crazy, like that the season's going by so fast, and postseason's right around the corner. Um, Exciting time of year. Hopefully everyone stays healthy. Everything stays going forward. Keep going forward. Keep moving. It's been awesome. It's been a good year. Yeah, Girls State this weekend.
Yep.
Huge.
Oh, yeah. Girls State
Turnout was awesome.
Yeah.
How about the 106 pounds at Girls State's gonna be awesome. I think you have some girls that are like legitimately in the mix to qualify for Boys State. Like, Ocampo had an awesome match out there. You got to see it live with Johns of Bluffton.
Yeah. Ocampo, she's tough. She's real tough, and she wrestled in the girls regional, and I know our people did not get back till after midnight, and New Haven's pretty much the same distance away. So she had a late night, then back up early, weighed in, keep your weight in check, didn't get an allowance. Okay. So, and then came back, wrestled, and came back. So that's interesting. And she had tough. She pinned the DeKalb kid earlier in the week. I'm fairly certain they wrestled. That's when they wrestled. The DeKalb kid's a pretty tough 6-pounder. Then she ended up having a 1-point match where she pulled it out at the end. I think she got an escape. And then that the Norwell kid's pretty solid. And just kind of they went to the ultimate tiebreaker. Actually, they're just the tiebreakers, and she ended up just running out of gas. And there's no shame in that when you've wrestled
that was a Bluffton
4 or
kid,
5
right?
matches the day before.
That was the Bluffton kid, Johns.
No, Bluffton, yes, Bluffton Johns. Yeah, he's
pretty solid. 106 is gonna be a good weight there. She beat a really tough Cantu at the Northern Regional. Now you're gonna feeding Heather Crawl, who's really good.
Yep, Crawl, Cantu in the semis, and then possibly Campo in the finals. So yeah, it's gonna be we got 2 girls that qualified, which is pretty cool. It's and I obviously I probably watch more girls wrestle at the high school level this weekend when I was on Friday when our girls were wrestling, and you can tell the levels getting better and better, so which is good to see.
Yeah,
and we're I like that Robert Falcon's kind of set out hey, this is what we need 5 girls per team, we need 120 teams. That kind of sets a bar for us to I always hate when well, we'll do it soon. Hey, give us what we need, and then now we have something to work for. And I think we had 113 teams at regional. People that are saying there were 70 some teams, you're wrong, because there are teams that didn't have any wrestlers. So just look at it and see how many teams do not. They're about 112, 113 teams. So we're almost there with the teams. There's about an average of 3 girls per team. Obviously, somewhere like Penn, who brought like 20, and I know like Jay County and Columbia City bring a lot too. They obviously skewed the stats, but we're getting there. I think it'd be, per those stats, I think we're about 2 to 3 years away. Hopefully sooner. Hopefully I'm wrong, and hopefully it's 1 year away. So I guess we'll see. But I like having something to go out. Okay, now we have something to strive for, and we can, look at that and say, hey, we're 5 teams away. We're 60 wrestlers away. That kind of makes it easier to see that the light at the end of the tunnel. Ohio
just certified, right? They're going.
Yeah, they just sanctioned it as a merging sport or whatever they call. They're sanctioning it. It's, from what I read, it didn't sound like it was. It's sanctioned, but it's still kind of a merging sport, so it's not fully sanctioned. But it's, I don't know. It's kind of in that process, from what I read.
Toriana Buchanan going for her fourth championship.
Yeah, and I think
Campbell 3 times in the finals, 2 titles. 20. I'm just looking at.
Isn't Dempwolf? I think she. Riley Dempwolf. I think she was originally supposed to go at 195, and I don't know if she didn't make weight or she just decided to go up, but she went up. I know she was doing. I think she's either going for a 3rd or 4th.
Coach O'Neill's daughter has been on the lights 3 times.
Yep. Yeah, Dempwolf's going for her 4th, but she bumped up to heavyweight after wrestling 95 most of the time, and go after. I assume it was tougher competition. I don't know what the. I mean, I don't want to.
Yeah, she's tough.
Yeah.
She had recently committed too. Yeah, awesome event. They've done a good job, and like you're right, I think the level of wrestling's improved drastically, and I think a lot of these girls will be looking to wrestle in college, and there's gonna be opportunities for them, which is cool. I know that Dane had a couple. They had Amy Hildebrandt on.
Mm-hmm.
She's at what, Trine?
Yeah, she's at Trine.
And then the coach from Indiana Tech. So definitely opportunities to go out there and compete and get educated, and that's always pretty cool.
Yeah, and that, I mean, that's something, you can say that these girls that there's opportunities to get your college paid for because of wrestling, and that's pretty. I mean, it helps to like, hey, there's an opportunity here to and there's a lot of money that they're for Title IX, because it's an equal sport. You're going to be able to get some money there, and there might not there's girls wrestling is growing, but there's still a lot of girls that aren't wrestling, and they're still trying to fill up their spots. So it's a great opportunity to get better.
I think they said Coach Hildebrandt only had like 4 girls on our team currently at Trine.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in engineering and you want to continue your education, go introduce yourself. And I think it's always good to get on their radar, maybe send them a message, send them a tweet, tag them in some of your stuff. I think that's pretty cool. Gary Meyer's done a good job with the women's wrestling too. I think that he's really pushed for that. He's been a strong. I see him on here.
Yeah.
I know that they were at the team state also. I know. I think I had them going around longer, but they're just in a tough spot.
Yeah. They're it should be. I mean, kudos to those coaches. I know there was quite a few coaches at the regional, girls regional, and then they hiked it all the way down to team state. I think Sandifer was down there. I mean, was that regional? I saw quite a few coaches, and not only they're going for the girls, and then going right down to team state, that kind of stuff. That's a lot of work, and it's a long night. I know our coaches didn't get back till about 12:30, and I was in charge of practice, so I stayed back. But it's one of those things that and then coaches are going tomorrow, and then getting a day off of school, getting a day off of work, whatever it is, and wrestling starts at noon, so they're obviously taking a full day off, travel and stuff, and then a lot of them have Saturday events, conferences, or the Wild Bill, things like that. So
they're doubling up. Like you said, Ocampo wrestled. She wrestled, at the girls' state, and then turned around and was at the boys.
Yeah, and didn't. I mean, making weight 2 days in a row, that kind of stuff. That's tough.
Cantu also, she lost to Mason Jones at the county. Just going through some of the stuff on, IndianaMat, going through the women's rankings, and some of them added pictures, and I always think that's cool. I like it on the boys' side when you go there. It's not just the team default that they're adding the pictures in from their own team. So it's cool that they're trafficking the site.
Yeah,
it's always cool.
Yep, trying to get more and more of those. That's the hard part. Is need to send someone around to every school and get pictures of everybody. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I always think that's pretty cool, and it's always interesting to see. Like, obviously, put something that's appropriate. Like, I know on the men's side, I don't know if that's ever been a problem on the other side, but like you go out there and it's cool to put something like a picture with what you're doing. So you're on there, you tag you go to your ranking, it's on there. You got your profile, all your grade point average. Like, obviously, it's a profile for you, so definitely pretty cool.
Yeah, and if I did a little tweaking today. If you go to the list of the wrestlers, like the whole big list, I made that a little bit easier to look at. So change that up. So check it out when you have time. So
I always like to see like who's getting the most traffic on their site, like on their page.
We need to,
obviously, the guys that do like the national stuff, like you get to see how many people, like on Jesse's, you got his Twitter, his Instagram, his track profile, his career record, where he's committed to, his college weight, his results. You got his state results, his national results. It just makes it like a cooler page, you know?
Yeah. You know, I can tell you, there's a thing in there that tells you how many times that profile's been clicked.
Whose is the most? Are you tracking who has the most?
It's Cap. Give me a second. I can tell you who the most is. Oops, sorry. I have to get into my database. It would be kind of, actually, I can tell you I know who it is. I'm pretty positive, and this was as of a couple years ago, but it was
Chad Red had the highest one, right?
Yeah, that's who was the highest. Let's see. Record views. Where'd it go?
It's always cool to see like what picture they choose for their profile also.
Yep. It goes Chad Red, Mason Paris, Nick Lee, Brayton Lee, Jesse, Colton Cummings, Blake Ripel, Briar Goodwin, Joe Lee, Asa Garcia, Drew Hughes, Sean Streck, Silas Allred, Drew Hildebrandt, Jacob Kuvach, Garrett Peppel, Braden Curtis, Braden Bailey. So a lot of pretty good guys there. But Red's profile's been viewed 26,000 times.
I'm not. I got Thurman on pace. He's gonna get to 26,000. Jason,
You're just gonna make a script that checks his profile, every 10 minutes.
Yeah. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah,
That's my dude, man. That's a good guy. That's a real good guy.
Briar Goodwin from South. They must have. That's a weird one from South Adams. They must have been bored at South Adams one day. Sorry, oof. Because he has over 11,000 views. But yeah, it's pretty good. I need to add that in there. I can probably I gotta figure out what that is. I can add that in there just for fun. Hopefully you didn't catch COVID.
Hector with the post of the day, right? What am I saying here? There's a website for that. Pretty good.
Yes.
That got me to laugh. I laughed at that.
Yeah. You didn't notice my nice little picture there.
Yep.
Yelling nice things. So, but I guess with that, good luck to all the girls wrestling tomorrow. Good luck to everyone at their conferences, and we'll be back on Monday, hopefully, talking more wrestling. I have a lot to talk about. One more week of the regular season, and then it's sectional time. So it's almost time. So
let's go.
We'll
Good articles this week too.
Yep. Check those out. We'll see you guys on Monday.